Let's go down the rabbit hole.
Wakey, everybody. I hope everybody's not sleeping right now. I'll tell you, there is no rest for the weary. No rest for the weary whatsoever, dude. All right, check this one out, folks. Right, you have the U.S. national debt clock. For the longest time, we have had, the golden age image that has been up for the past couple of months. All right. But we have something new. All right. And I'm telling you, folks, this one's wild, right? This is the first time I have ever seen this, but check this out. Boom. All right. A declaration by We the People. And look at here, a free book PDF download. We've downloaded it. We're going to show you here in a moment. It says here, a declaration by We the People, the Fed banking cartel, in accordance with the power granted to We the People by the Most High God. And, we always have to remember, what God are they talking about, right? It says, we assert our right to secure our life, liberty, and property. In doing, we find it necessary to undo the injustice brought upon us by a secret private banking conglomerate known as the Federal Reserve. The Fed has systematically stripped the wealth of our nation and placed it into the hands of an elite few using a carefully crafted criminal scheme dating back over 100 years. While posing as a federal agency, they operated as an unlawful money laundering and racketeering, debt and interest exchange that has no actual reserves. Because of the fraudulent nature of their enterprise, We the People seek full reparations. Isn't that funny? And restitution of assets acquired from the inception of the conspiracy to counterfeit the USA dollar. We expect these forfeited assets to be remitted towards the establishment of the USA Sovereign Wealth Reserve. That's a new one, which is exclusively owned by the American people on this 4th day of July, 2025. Isn't that interesting, folks? It says, We the People declare our independence from the Federal Reserve Bank. I'm telling you, they're coming out with the digital currency real soon. And the assets that are here that we see at the bottom, it says the USA Sovereign Wealth Reserve, unalienable, 100% reserve asset trust. This is an asset-based currency, all right? And there's a few of these symbols that I don't know what they are, but the first one's gold. The second one here is silver. I think this one is the next one's copper. The next one's oil. The next one's water. The next one's, your corn, which is your produce. You know what I'm saying? And so on and so forth. This is an asset-based currency. And so when you download the PDF file that is attached to it, and we're not scared to do that here. Hold on one second. I'm trying to pull it up. I apologize. Right here. Okay, this is what we see. The new money revolution, all right, at this point there is 34 pages. So basically 33 pages. Isn't that interesting? All right, almost there. But the new money revolution, the USA Treasury dividend dollar, 100% reserve, a golden age. All right, so it's got these same asset-based currency symbols here that you see on the sides. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 12 different of these. And this is the table of contents. Den of Thieves, the tally system, the Bank of England, colonial script, failed fiat currencies, the silver swindle, greenbacks, the crime of 1873, the Fed, debt money, money creation magic show rigged by the banks, the Great Depression, deflation dollar in slow motion, the debt money ripoff, theft by another name, inflation, interest, the elephant in the room, derivatives, tariffs. Do you see where this is going? They're telling you where they're going with it. They're telling you where they're going with it. It literally, we've seen inflation for the longest time during the Biden administration and interest, and we were seeing the elephant in the room and the derivatives. Now the tariffs are here. You see what I'm saying? And 21 says, what is money? 22, liberty versus tyranny. That's a little scary. 23, the big bank squeeze. 24 is G money, which maybe could be a digital currency. De-evolution is 25. 26 is a simple plan. And 27 is transfer of power. 28 is money reinvented. 29 is debt to wealth. And 30 is sovereign wealth reserve. So this is where they're going with it, is what it looks like. It looks like number 1 starts off where it began, and number 30 is where it's going. And we're at number 20 so far. And it seems that from 16, and I'm just going by, 15 to 20 here, it seems that all those have happened within the past 4 to 5 years. You see what I'm saying? I don't know if you're following me here. And it seems that as time goes on, things accelerate. And I'm wondering what is about to happen where they're going to accelerate this all the way to number 30. Okay. Now, I don't like this any more than you do, but it says this is the Den of Thieves one. In this, Jesus has a whip in his hand, and it looks like he's about to hit people. He looks angry. He looks violent. I don't like that at all, but this isn't the Jesus I serve. It says that Jesus went into the temple of God and cast out all of them that sold and bought in the temple and overthrew the table of the money changers. So this it looks like it just goes through the history of stuff here. I'm not going to sit there and read their blasphemy, but it talks about all the different events that have taken place. You can pause and read these on your own, but it goes through the history of this thing, and I kind of am interested to get to the more recent stuff, but I've never seen nothing like this before. I've been collecting the U.S. debt clock images for a long time. I have a whole file with it on my computer, and I'll tell you, folks, it's got Illuminati symbolism all over it. Look at this. We'll work for food. The crime of 1873. And like I said, you can pause these on your own time and read each one and just going probably through the history of, what they've done and how they've done it. And I can almost guarantee you it's basically this is their admission of what they've done and what they're going to do to you. Your silence is your consent. If the ants could ever understand that they outnumbered the grasshoppers, man, the grasshoppers would lose their power overnight. But we're getting to inflation here, and look where it's at. You see where the inflation's going, from the 1900s to 2024. And this proves it's talking about 2024, 2025, right? It says inflation and invention of a word to cover up the biggest crime in human history, the theft of a nation. In America, what have you been going through? It says here the proper term is deflation, because when you're dealing with crime, you blame the perpetrator and not the victim. The value of the dollar is deflating thanks to the 100-year criminal scheme implemented by the banks and the Federal Reserve debt money system. Rising prices are not the fault of the producers of goods and services. And what's interesting is I can almost guarantee you, folks, good folks, that the people that are behind the U.S. debt clock, the Durst family that runs the World Trade Center, they have a stake in the One World Trade Center. Okay. And I'm going to tell you right now, and if people can believe me or believe me not, okay, I don't care, honestly. All right. Like literally people's opinions, if they don't agree with me here, it doesn't affect me at all. Okay. So disagree, agree. For those that agree, you're in the know. All right. But Jared Kushner's ex-wife, okay, works for the Durst family in the One World Trade Center. And I made a video showing where even Google admitted that this woman, I forget her name, it's like Carrie Kushner, I think is her name, Carrie Kushner. She was literally Jared Kushner's wife. And there's all these rich elite, and they can scrub all this stuff off the internet. They got these white hat hackers that'll clean up the internet up for them, if that's what you want to call a white hat hacker. But anyways, my point is, all right, is that the people that run the U.S. debt clock have ties to Trump, okay? They have ties to the Durst family. If the Durst family runs it, the Kushners have ties to the Durst family, and through the Kushners have ties to the Trumps. All right. And so I hope you really see what I'm trying to say here is that, they're telling you what's coming. All right. They're telling you what's coming. It's right in your face. And so we go on, 20% interest. Oh, that's a little scary. That's a little scary to say the least. I hope people are paying attention. The elephant in the room. I'm not even going to go over all this because I don't want to be live for forever. I'm like dead to the world tired right now. But I saw this. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to check the USDebtClock.org and I'm going to check the secret window and see if anything new's up. And sure enough, they brought in something new. And I'm telling you, they waited until July 4th to do this. And I've been warning people that this July 4th is a significant moment for them. This is a significant moment in time, and I really think things are about to amp up. Okay, and I've been warning people, I've been telling people, and I think all this change, and this is just propaganda they're feeding the nations. This is to anger the mob. This is to stir up the unruly mob against the system to overthrow it. You want to know who's going to get a hold of this? Antifa. All right, and people, these liberals, and all these. People who don't have half a brain, okay, are going to get a hold of this, and they're going to say, I'm the Fed, or something, because they already hate the Trump administration, right? But, we've already seen that they're willing to shed blood on ICE compounds, all right, that's happened the past couple of days, where there's been attacks in Portland and attacks in Texas and Prairie Land, Texas. My point is, all right, is that what's to say that this isn't going to play into it, the whole thing with the Fed. All right. And so anyways, we'll keep going with this here. What is money? It talks about that. Liberty versus tyranny. CBDC prison. Now let's look at this. Private free enterprise is your gold. All right. But look, sovereign citizen bankless card. This is the first step to the mark of the beast. State chartered, no ID required if you have it. Crypto anonymous, no capital gains tax. And I mean, this is what's going to cause cryptocurrency to go through the roof, probably like your XRP or something like that. That's I'm not an expert, but that's kind of seems like where it's going, that they're about to boost cryptocurrency. All right. It says citizens free to create boundless wealth and prosperity in a world of plenty. And they're going to have that. Peace. You know what I'm saying? And then some, your sudden destruction, which is your CBDC prison. And, John F. Kennedy, there's a lot of people say there's a lot of ties between JFK and Trump. We won't go down that road today. That's for another video. But I'll tell you right now, the CBDC prison, they thought they could corral the people into a digital prison. What don't they know? It says date restricted, area specific, approved purchases, non-transferable. You see how they're going to give you freedom, and then all of a sudden they're going to take it away. They're going to set up the currency to make it look like you're going to benefit, and then boom, the cell doors are going to slam shut, is what this is saying to me. All right, so there is a time of prosperity that's coming, a golden age, but it's not going to turn out the way people think it's going to. All right, and here we go. This is interesting. We're going to point something out, and I pointed it out in past lives. If you follow this channel, you're in the know. I'm not going to overly explain a bunch of stuff here, but I have shown the USDebtClock.org secret window images before and breaking down the occult significance in certain image, and I showed an image of Clown Schwab that has a clown collar on, and in back of him, it's got the world burning. It's on fire. And then above it, it has the World Economic Forum logo. And then it has this exact same bill right here, this $100 bill over to your right, the world debt security, and there it is, the 90-day note. 90-day note. There it is again. It comes up once again. Now, if you can see this UPC code, all right, or not UPC code, but this, can someone use their phone right now while I'm live and take a picture of that code that's on that bill? There's obviously a digital code on that bill. If your camera could pick that up off the screen, pull that up and see what it comes to, because I don't know how to do that. I'm going to be honest with you. But, all right, we'll come down further. That, you might have to rewind it, but look at that. There's Klaus Schwab right here. I don't know if you can see my cursor, but if you look at the center of the bill, it says International Monetary Fund. If you look just to the lower right hand of that world that's got all the flags on it, that's got the International Monetary Fund logo, right to the right, there's a little shadow of Klaus Schwab right there. I'm telling you, there's something about 90 days. And I've said it before, and I'm going to say it again, and I'm not trying to scare people here. I'm trying to prepare you for what's about to take place. And I do believe that they're going to let the world burn for 90 days. And then they're going to come in and act like they're the saviors of the world. All right? I do believe that they're going to, it's going to be either a blackout or, they're going to, things are going to go offline for 90 days. And there's just something about that 90-day, that period. Okay, 90-day period, folks. There's something about it, folks. And I hope you write that down. I really do, because I think it's extremely significant. I really do. And with what this is, and it looks an awful lot like those chips that are in your cell phones, the SIM cards or whatever, the little gold piece that's on your SIM card, it's on these same cards that we're seeing here, right? It looks more like the CBDC prison card. Anyways, my point is 90 days right there in front of your face. They're telling you a time frame. Now, is it going to have to be that? No, it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't. Pressure from above, the end of debt money. It's coming, folks. They are telling you right here, they are going to bring in a digital currency. There will be a little bit of a it's going to pop off for a little bit. Everybody that invested in cryptocurrency and certain kinds, it's probably going to go through the roof for a little bit. You better cash in and not get greedy when it comes time, and then share with God's people so that way other people can prepare, because your money ain't going to last you for forever. I'll tell you that. You can't eat money. Now, I'll tell you right now, it says here, an easy way out of debt money. Stop creating debt. Deconstruct Federal Reserve operations, replacing unfunded debt dollars with asset-backed USA Treasury dollars. And it kind of reminds me of those gold backs that people have been talking about. All right. It says here, hidden assets vastly surpass federal debt, making the transition from debt to wealth unencumbered. I don't think it's going to be unencumbered, but this does kind of give me an idea that they're looking for a smooth transition from money to digital currency, because they don't want to lose out. If we look at the way God writes things out in the Word of God, in the book of Revelation, at the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, when the 7-sealed scroll begins to be opened, okay, we see that the first rider is the white rider. That's the Antichrist. The second rider is peace being taken away from the earth. That's the red rider. The black rider is the economic collapse. So it's going to be after the Antichrist comes on the scenes that full-blown economic collapse will take place, where they basically have done the calculations that you're going to work an entire day's wage, or you'll have to have an entire day's wage for a loaf of bread. But we're not at that point yet. And when I read that, it tends to make me think they're looking for a smooth transition. It says from debt to wealth unencumbered. Fractional reserve banking has a reserve ratio of 10% as new USA Treasury dollars flow into the system. Okay, so they have a new currency already set up. They have these new coins. This is why they want to get rid of the penny too. Remember, they're getting rid of the penny. This all starts to make sense. State credit unions will be capitalized as reserve ratios will be increased on the existing Fed-based banks until the transition is complete. It says here, full circle, it all ends where it began in 1913. So it began in 1913, but it's coming full circle. The creators of the Federal Reserve knew in 1913 that their debt money scam was unsustainable. They planned for a world of total control and ownership of all property, You're going to own nothing, you're going to have nothing, and you're going to like it. You will eat the bugs, you will drink the sewage water, and you will eat the weeds, and meat you will rarely have. Okay, right there. They're telling you what they're going to do to you. Ownership of all property. Literally, the World Economic Forum said in the year 2030, you are going to rent everything from the government. I showed their video just the other day that they deleted off their channel. And they said literally like, hey, you're going to have to rent everything from the government. And then the U.S. isn't going to be a superpower anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, everything is about to shift in America. Your time is over with. God is done with the sin. He's given you over into the hands of your enemies. And people are like, this can't happen to us. All right. Also, it says here in means of communications. So I'm wondering, if a blackout is coming where they're going to transfer over everything. It says the Great Awakening was the furthest thing from their minds. See right there, this Great Awakening is a scam that's about the emergence of the Antichrist. The Great Awakening is this New Age awakening, and not a lot of people know it, but they'll figure it out if they do their research, or they're just going to find out the hard way. It says, we the people shall restore life, liberty, and property. Interesting. Tracking where 40% of every dollar is spent. G money. This is that digital currency. Government money. The government digital currency. Doge. Audit trial. Traced by House District. Traced by individual ID. State and local spending. Whistleblower rewards. So if you snitch, you're going to get extra money from the government. If you snitch on your neighbor, if you snitch on your brother, if you snitch on your sister, you will get money. So there's whistleblower rewards. Political donations, campaign spending, government contracts, non-government ORGs, or organizations overseeing the overseers. So they're going to use you, right? What if we the people, and this kind of sounds like this new system that, Elon Musk is bringing in, this third-party crap, okay, which I wouldn't buy that. This isn't the escape. Listen, I'm telling you, they're just creating, instead of a duality, I'm going to make up a word here, triple-ality, okay? Instead of a duality, it's a triple-ality. And it's still the monopoly that they've always had. It's just being repackaged once again, like always. It says here, how is it possible that a group of elected officials with 93% re-election rate can spend 40% of our life and liberty with such little oversight? We must continually audit this privileged class of government oligarchs. And I'll tell you, what's interesting is in the Illuminati card game, there is a repetitious theme of the angry mob overthrowing the elite. There's a card that's called First We'll Kill All the Lawyers. That's one of the cards. Another card is called Eat the Rich. They want to incite, this is propaganda to incite the unruly mob, and I hope people see it for what it is and don't get wrapped up into this satanic baloney mumbo jumbo. But right here, de-evolution, home mortgages, car loans, business loans, credit cards, 0.3% APR. 50 state credit unions, they're going to cut out your property taxes. Boy, they're going to make this sound so good, so sweet at first. It's crazy to me. The White House bypassed the Fed, banking cartel, the USA Treasury, and no wonder they're putting fencing up around the Treasury Department. I showed you a video of that. They're putting up fencing around the White House and the Treasury Department just not too long ago. All right. And so transfer of power, we the people, this is what they're telling you it's going to be, but it's not going to be what it is. You know what I'm saying? It's always too good to be true with these people. Money reinvented, to an asset-based currency. All right. Variable asset living index. Man, folks, right here, dude, it's all in our base. Precious metals, 10%. Mineral reserves, oil. So this shows the symbolism a little bit more. Real estate, stock market, new energy. They're telling you what old symbols meant the whole entire time. This is a decoding. Okay, all right. For anybody who's a researcher, all right, or knows people that research, this is the way that they will decode. All right. This is how you're going to decode all the past stuff that they put out and all the past symbolisms. They're giving you a codex here, I think is the word, something to go by to decode everything, because they're literally finally showing what symbols meant, because some of them are so small You can't even tell what it is. But federal debt, corporate debt, household debt, financial debt, state and local debt, is going to turn into this wealth freedom, and the dividend dollar, direct ownership, we the people, the sovereign wealth reserve, unalienable asset trust. It's not going to be what people think it is. Sovereign wealth reserve, USA dividend dollar. You got your asset-based currencies there: gold, silver, oil, minerals. Wall Street, the economy, corn. All that stuff, energy. And then you got the thing that they put up today on the, USDebtClock.org that just kind of started all. And then you download this free PDF, and it's right here. New money for a new America. Are you ready for it, folks? Are you ready? Can you handle what's coming, folks? Because I'm telling you, everything's coming down the line, and it's happening faster than what people expected. You know what I'm saying? And I really hope people are paying attention, because, I think this stuff is right around the corner. It seems like something really big is right around the corner. They have got to get Agenda 2030 going. And I think it already is. I think there's so much more happening that we really can even perceive and understand right now, globally speaking. But it says by the year 2030, they're going to have this stuff in place. And the World Economic Forum has put predictive videos out that they even deleted off their YouTube. Thank God there's people like myself that download this stuff, that save it and archive it, so that way we can later look at it and say, hey, look, all along they were telling us what they were going to do to us. So, I just wanted to make this video real quick and warn people and be like, hey, look, there's something not right about all this. Something seems very fishy. Something seems very big that's coming right around the corner. I appreciate each and every single one of you that have come to this live. Sorry it's so short. It's late. I'm going to bed. May God bless you all. May he keep you. And please don't forget to go out and change this world in which you live.
Now, let's go down the rabbit hole.